Hey everyone, just recently I did a video on the brand new Vidiu X from Teradek. It's a new video streaming encoder that just barely came out, and surprisingly is actually widely available now. So if it's something you want to get your hands on, you can certainly pick one up, and if you choose to do so, you can use the link that's appearing down there at the bottom of your screen right now. But after that video was released, I got a lot of questions from people asking how the bonding feature works. So basically, well, what is bonding? First of all, I got to define that in order to give you some context for what I'm going to be demonstrating here today. So bonding is basically the ability to combine multiple internet connections in order to guarantee that you get enough bandwidth in order to do your video stream. So it can be Ethernet, it can be Wi-Fi, it can be cell phone. There's any number of connections that you can use in order to help get your video out to the internet. It's something that you have to have a back-end service for. It's not something that you're going to get for free by just having a piece of software running on your computer or a feature on a particular device. There has to be a back-end service associated with that. And I'm going to get into some of that today, but I also wanted to clarify something else that I got a lot of questions on, and that is, do you have to subscribe to those services in order to use these devices at all? And the answer to that is no, you don't. So let's actually dive into the user interface on this. So this device that I'm using today is the Teradek Vidiu Go. That's the top end device in their Vidiu line. So some of the things that I'm going to be showing here today are not necessarily available in the Vidiu X or the much older Vidiu Pro. But the basic concepts still apply, and I will try and point out as I go which features are available across the line and mostly focus on those and kind of avoid the ones that are Vidiu Go specific. So with that, let's actually dive into the menu and take a look. Alright, so this is the web interface on the Teradek Vidiu Go, and it's very similar on the other devices as well. The Pro is a little bit it's an older looking interface, but all the same features are there. So within here, you've got your first page where you're basically seeing a low rate update preview thumbnail of the video that's going to be going out, and then you have your button to actually take the broadcast live. Before you do that, you really need to configure the device, tell it where you're going to send it. So in order to do that, we go to the settings page, and then the first tab in here is broadcast, and this basically tells the device where to send your video. However, if you're going to be using the cloud service, and you do have to use the cloud service for bonding, you can kind of ignore this page because you're going to be configuring this on the Sharelink website instead of within the device itself. All the things that are on this page are actually configured remotely once you connect your device to the Sharelink service. So with that, I'm going to go over to, well, before I do that, I should mention that the device by itself, without going through a back-end service, so in other words, for no additional charge, the device by its lonesome, without any additional help, can automatically stream to any RTMP source, and it has some pre-configured settings and integration with some popular live streaming services. So there's Livestream, IBM Video Streaming, YouTube Live, Facebook, Periscope, Live Air, Wowza, and Vimeo. And so with the integration there, you're basically just logging into your account, and then the device takes care of setting up everything that you need in order to do your live streaming. You don't have to worry about web page addresses or URLs or streaming keys or any of that. Just tying it into your account is enough to get you going. So with that said, that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about bonding. And in order to do that, we have to go up to their cloud service. So in that case, we're going to go over to the cloud tab here, and we're going to select Sharelink. So all of the devices I've been talking about today, so the Teradek Vidiu Go, the Vidiu X, and the Vidiu Pro, all do work with Sharelink. The Go that I have here also supports another service from Teradek that's called Core, and I don't want to get into that today. That's much more complicated. I could do a whole series of videos on Core. It's a much more complicated service, and it's only supported by this one device in the Vidiu line, and so it's not necessarily relevant for the discussion we're having today. But anyway, so Sharelink is the service that we're going to be going to. So basically what happens is that any of the video that comes into our streaming device gets encoded and then sent up to the Sharelink service, and then from there it's redistributed to any of the online services that you want to use. And that can be one service or it can be multiple services. You can decide. You can do as many as you want. So if you wanted to simultaneously stream to YouTube and Facebook and Wowza, whatever, you can do that. All you have to do is add those as destination channels within the Sharelink service, and we'll get into that, and I'll actually show you how that works here in a minute. But basically what I need to do is I need to click on Sharelink here, and then I'm going to come down and click on Apply, and that will cause the device to use its active internet connection. Right now I'm just using Ethernet. Uses that active internet connection in order to connect up to the cloud service, and at that point it actually immediately starts sending preview video up to the cloud. And so if we want to, we can actually go over to the Sharelink website, and I've obviously already logged in and created my account here, but we'll notice here in a minute that the video from my Teradek Vidiu Go is going to start showing up here in this preview window. That preview is always live, whether your video is actually going out and being streamed to any other destination services. So this will let you know that your internet connection is good, that it's working, that the video is actually getting out. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on the little gear here so we can take a look at some of the other settings that are here. So the first thing that we're going to see here is the connection, and this lets us see, let me blow that up a little bit, this lets us see how much bandwidth is actually being allocated from different connections. Right now I'm only connected with the Ethernet, with a wired connection, and so we only show one connection that's in here. So I haven't done any bonding just yet. This is just sending the video up to the cloud, and we can see basically a graph, a history of what's been happening in terms of the bandwidth that's been used for the last little while. Now if we go over to the broadcast tab, I mentioned a minute ago that we can remotely configure this, and this is where we do this. So here we can say we're going to set a custom video quality, and you can choose one of the presets. We're going to choose custom. I'm going to set it to native resolution, so it's not going to do any sort of scaling or whatever, and then I'm going to change the bit rate. I'm going to just bump that up to 6 megabits per second. That's a pretty good bandwidth for pretty good bit rate for doing 1080p video. Audio quality I'm going to leave at HD there. And the frame rate I'm going to leave at 30 frames per second. Most of these devices will actually do 60, so if you're shooting a sporting event or whatever and you happen to be shooting at 60 frames per second, you can choose that. It also has a feature for adaptive bitrate, which adjusts the amount of data that's being sent up to the cloud based on your internet connection availability. So you basically set a maximum here, and then it will adjust up and down in order to accommodate whatever connectivity you happen to have. So I'm going to hit apply on that, and then we're going to see the preview go away. At this point it's setting the configuration that I've selected here back down to, let's see if we can get that in the shot, back down to my Teradek Vidiu Go device. And there we go, video is coming back up again. So it reconfigured. Now if we go back over to the connection tab, we'll see that it's now sending more data than it was before. Previously I had it set at 3.25 megabits per second, and now with it set at 6, we're seeing more data come in. Okay, now with that configured, we can actually start adding additional connections into this. This is where we do our bonding. Now it doesn't take a whole lot in order to do this. I'm going to start with one of these guys. So this is a USB modem. Sorry, that's blown out there. And this is a USB modem from ZTE. It has a SIM card in it, and the SIM card happens to be on T-Mobile, my preferred carrier in this area. But if I want to start using this in addition to my wired internet connection, all I have to do is plug it in. So I just take that and plug it into the USB port on the right, and then it's going to go ahead and try and connect to the cellular network. I'll wait for that light to turn blue. Alright, and then from there, if we go back into the menu for the Teradek, for the Vidiu, we can come down here and see that USB modem 2 is now connected, and it's currently sending data at about 1.63 megabits per second. Likewise, we can go over to the Sharelink website, and on that graph I was showing you a moment ago, here it's showing that I have wired connection that's currently sending at 6.164 megabits per second, and the USB modem is sending at 1.628 megabits per second. Alright, so if that isn't enough connectivity for you, let's add some more. Here is another USB modem, just like the first one. We're going to plug that into the USB port on the left. Now I should mention that only the Go actually has the 2 USB ports in it. The Vidiu X and the VidiU Pro only have 1. So you're slightly more limited in connectivity there than you would be with the Vidiu Go, but for purposes of demonstration today, I'm going to have both of these going at the same time. So we'll give that a minute for it to connect. So yeah, it's connected, And if we come up to the Sharelink service, bingo, USB modem 1 is now sending at 2.2 megabits per second. Alright, is that not enough connectivity for you? Let's add more. Let's talk about Wi-Fi on these things. So, obviously, from all the demonstration videos, these devices actually do have Wi-Fi built into them. And the temptation there is going to be to basically have this device connect to a hotspot, whether that be an actual dedicated hotspot unit or the hotspot feature on your phone. Let me just basically let you know that that's not the ideal way to do this for a number of reasons. First of all, you can only connect to one. So this only has one Wi-Fi radio in it. And that Wi-Fi radio, if it's in client mode, can only connect to one hotspot device. So you're limiting yourself to one possible cellular connection if you're doing that. If you switch this into access point mode, where this becomes the access point that your device connects to, then you get a lot more flexibility, and you can also actually save some money doing that. So we probably all noticed that cell phone carriers will bill for hotspot data differently than they do for regular cellular data. And if you use the hotspot feature with this, that data is going to be billed as using the hotspot feature. Like, for example, my personal cell phone plan, I get unlimited standard data, but I only get 3 gigabytes of hotspot data. Well, if I was using the hotspot data, I would go through that 3 gigabytes in a matter of an hour or two. So I don't want to do that. But what they've done is they've set this up where it is a hotspot, or it's a Wi-Fi access point in and of itself. And in order to stream data from this, you actually connect your phone or other device to the Wi-Fi access point that's in here, and then you run the VidiU app in order to get that data up to the cloud. So I'm going to pull out my cell phone here, and then I'm going to connect to the Wi-Fi that's on this device. I've already pre-configured that. Now that Wi-Fi connection is not going to give my phone internet access, and it's not going to give this device internet access, but what it's going to do is it's going to allow me to use the VidiU app. So let me switch to the VidiU app here, and then I'll show you what I've got going on. Alright, so now my phone is connected to the Wi-Fi access point that's in the VidiU device. It's kind of backwards of the way you think this should work. But this gives you some pretty cool things you do. First of all, it makes it really easy to configure it. It's like you come in here, you come into the app, and you can actually see a preview of the video. You can see the audio is working. You can start and stop the broadcast from in here. You can change the settings on the device. So if you want to set up the broadcast or the cloud or recording features, whatever, you can do that through this app. But the other thing that this does is allows you to share the internet connection that's in the phone with the VidiU device in order to give you additional bandwidth, additional level of redundancy. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Link Phone down here at the bottom left. And at this point, this phone is then going to be added to the Ethernet connection, the 2 cellular modems that I have going here. So, alright, it says we're linked, it says we're online. Now if we come over to the Sharelink service and take a look, there it is. Cell 2 is now uploading at 1.8, now 2.4 megabits per second. And this phone is actually a 5G model, so get a lot more bandwidth with that than I can with these other USB modems. Still not enough for you? Let's add more and bring in an Android phone. So I'm going to do the same thing again. Okay, so now I'm going to launch that VidiU app. So I'll find that in the list here. Same thing we did on the iPhone a moment ago. It sees the VidiU device, and click on that, and it pops up immediately. Like, do you want to link your Android device? So I'm going to say yes. So now it's joining, and now the bandwidth from this is being added to the bandwidth of everything else. So Sharelink, take a look. Sure enough, Cellular 3 is now added to the list, and it's bringing in data at 1.3 megabits per second. Still not enough? Let's add more. Let's add another iPhone. Again, all I'm doing here is connecting to the Wi-Fi access point that's built into this device. And once I've done that, I'm launching that VidiU app. See the device on the network. It's local network. Say, yes, I want to link that device. And now this cell phone is participating and sharing its internet connection as well. Still not enough? Let's add one more. here I have an iPad, iPad mini. And this iPad, it does have a cellular plan associated with it. Alright, so tap on the device there in that list. And again, would you like to link your iOS device? I say yes. And so now we have 2 iPhones, an Android phone, an iPad, 2 USB cellular modems, and Ethernet, all providing internet connectivity for my VidiU Go in order to make sure that I'm getting enough bandwidth out there to the internet. So yeah, you can get kind of ridiculous with this. But if you're in a situation where you've got really, really bad internet, this is one way to make sure that you actually do have the connectivity that you need in order to make sure you get your signal out. So there it is. We've got, was that 7 internet connections going simultaneously using the bonding feature that's built into the Sharelink service and the VidiU devices. So anyway, so that's about it in terms of getting the video out to the Sharelink service. Now with that, we need to get that video out somewhere else. So let's go back to Sharelink and we'll take a look and stream the video out to YouTube. So in order to do that, what we have to do is define a channel. So I come over to channel here, and I've got several other already predefined, but we're going to define a new one. We're going to say add channel. You can just link directly into YouTube here, but I prefer, just for the sake of having more control, to just use RTMP. So I'll click on RTMP here, and then I'm going to go ahead and tab back over. So this is a temporary YouTube stream that I've set up. I'm going to copy that RTMP URL. We'll call this one DJP demo. We'll do this bonding demo. And then paste in that RTMP URL. And then we'll copy the stream key, paste that in, and enable auto reconnect. That's kind of important. And I'm not going to bother with the backup URL, but YouTube does provide a backup URL that you can paste in there. So at this point, I'm going to save that channel, and then I'm going to come back over here into video sources. We'll see the VidiU Go device. And then down at the bottom here, I'm going to click on Add Channel. Scroll down to the bottom where I have the DJP bonding demo. Click on the checkbox there, and click Add. And at this point, if I wanted to add additional ones, if I wanted to send to this YouTube temporary one and add that one as well, again, as many as you want. And then once you've done that, your video's getting up to the cloud. Now you want to send that to the services. So we'll go ahead and click on Actions, and then we're going to say Start Stream. And then I'll go back over to the YouTube page where I've got this particular stream set up and ready to go. There it is, saying excellent connection. Data is coming in. So we've got the data, the video coming from VidiU Go, going out through 7 simultaneous internet connections, going up to the Sharelink cloud, and then being redistributed and sent over to YouTube or any other service or any other combination of services that you happen to want to do. So at this point, we would click on Go Live and have the video go live, and then we know that we've got a lot of connectivity, and we know that we've got a lot of redundancy there in order to make sure that our stream does absolutely not go down. So anyway, that's really the gist of it. So bonding is really the ability to combine multiple internet connections to send to some third-party service up in the cloud in order to combine that bandwidth and bring in data from multiple internet connections into a single place, where it can then be forwarded on to another streaming service like YouTube or Facebook or whatever. So anyway, in terms of pricing, as I'm recording this, the Sharelink service, they have a pay-as-you-go plan where there's no monthly fee, and then you basically pay $2 per outgoing gigabyte, and you only get charged for outgoing data. You don't get charged for incoming data. So the data that's being sent from your VidiU up to Sharelink, you're not billed for that, at least not through Sharelink. You probably have to pay your cellular carrier for that. But then anytime you distribute it from there, so once you go to YouTube or Facebook or whatever, you're paying $2 per gigabyte for that. They have the next plan up is $25 a month, and with that you get 50 gigabytes, and then you pay $1.50 for each gigabyte after that 50 gigabytes. And then from there, they have another plan that's $49 a month, and with that one, you get a larger allotment of data and pay $1 per gigabyte after that. So it really depends on how much data you're going to be streaming in order to determine which plan is going to be working for you. one other thing I failed to mention earlier, because these phones and devices are not being used in hotspot mode, this data is considered just regular data like any other app on your phone. So, you know, whether Instagram or TikTok or whatever app you happen to be using on your phone, this data is classified exactly the same. So it doesn't count against your hotspot limit. It also means you're not getting throttled, because most cellular carriers are throttling hotspot data, so you're not getting your full bandwidth if you're using the hotspot feature on your phone. You're being slowed down a little bit. With this method of doing this, that doesn't happen any longer. So you're able to get the full bandwidth that your phone happens to have at any given time, which makes it really nice in terms of reliability and getting all the bandwidth that you're actually really paying for. So anyway, with that, so that is bonding on the Teradek Vidiu series. It's a great feature to have. Whenever I have an important event, I always use this. I very often pop in these USB modems. I don't often do this, where I have this many devices going on, but you certainly can if you need to. If you're in an area where you've got really, really low bandwidth, we had a concert a few months ago where that was the case. We had really low bandwidth, and so I did carry all these devices with me for that particular event to make sure I was going to be able to get that stream out. And unfortunately, didn't have to use it, but it was there and available just in case we did. So anyway, if you guys have questions about this, you can leave those in the comment section down below. You can also reach out for help on our Discord server. The URL for that's popping up now on your screen. We've got a great community there of people who are very knowledgeable and very helpful, and are very excited to help others out in the video production community. So if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. I do video production related content at least once a week, and I do a lot of behind the scenes stuff for paying members and for Patreon. So if that's something you might be interested in, check the links down below. So that's it for now. Thanks everyone for watching, and have a great day.